Right, let's now find out about the reinstated COVID-19 Relief of Distress grant. Approved applicants have started receiving that grant, that 350 Rand a month grant. It was reinstated and now it is starting to be paid out. eNCA reporter Slindelo Masikane is in Bloemfontein monitoring the process. Also Ronald Masinda joining us from Cape Town. Slee, I'm going to start with you. Hello. Talk to us about what you saw in Bloemfontein regarding people queuing for that 350 Rand grant.
Well, it's quite a different picture in terms of what we understand when it comes to the payment of social grants. We know that this time around, this 350 Rand grant is going to be dispensed electronically as well as through the post office, just to limit the queues, of course, at SASSA offices as well as SASSA pay points. And the option to do it electronically, I think, is to also avoid those queues. So what we saw in Bloemfontein were very little to actually no queues at the post office here in the capital city, and just down the road at the SASSA offices themselves, Sally. That's the picture that most of our viewers will be familiar with, of those long snaking queues outside the offices, women, the elderly, some with babies on their backs waiting to be able to just go inside and collect their normal grants. So that child grant, that disability grant, that pension grants as well. So what those recipients were telling me here in Bloemfontein was that it seems that they've been neglected, basically. They're still forced to stand in those queues, many of them there from the early hours of the morning, saying that sometimes they could leave Bloemfontein without actually receiving that grant, forcing them to actually return the very next day. So when it comes to the 350 Rand grant, while there were no lines outside the post offices, we know, just to give you some context, Sally, that over 433,000 applications were received from the Free State, which was actually a larger number than the first dispensation.
All right, so are you saying it's 433,000 applicants for the special relief grant in the Free State?
In the Free State alone, we know that nationally the picture sits at around 8 million.
Yeah, there's been a huge uptick. So you spoke about the long queues and you say that's affecting the people who normally have a monthly grant, so it's the pensioners, those with disabilities. What are authorities saying about the fact that these queues remain so stubbornly long?
Well, it's the same thing we've been hearing in terms of all government departments that have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, where they have staff who fall ill, that sometimes forces the office to close. But the main issue in which grant recipients were talking about was the issue around the system constantly or frequently being offline. So you get to Bloemfontein after spending around 24 Rand to get from the townships to the city, only to be told that the system is offline and probably won't come back on, forcing you to once more have to spend that amount of money to come back to the city. So authorities are just asking for patience at this point and asking recipients to bear with them.
Thank you very much. That is Slee Masikane in Mangaung. And let's now cross to the Western Cape to find out how SASSA has been coping with grant payouts today. Hi there, Ronald. So what are SASSA officials saying about the number of people that have applied and qualified for this 350 Rand grant in the Western Cape?
Well, Sally, just a quick breakdown in numbers, and this is according to the General Manager of SASSA here in the Western Cape. When the payments were first made out yesterday, just under 7,000 people managed to collect their monies. That number is, of course, expected to increase quite sharply as the week unfolds. But just to also give you a breakdown in numbers, since the 18th of August nationally, just under 9 million people applied for the 350 grant. But here in the Western Cape, we are hearing that only around 600,000 people. So it really begs the question as to why are not enough people, especially the unemployed, not applying for this grant? Because today we saw empty queues, especially at the post offices. And SASSA says that they are well aware of this issue, and that's for that reason why they will be trying to get volunteers to go out to areas where they feel that people need more awareness as to how they can apply for the grant.
So are you saying that the uptake in the Western Cape has been quite low?
Very low, Sally, and one of the main reasons has been that people have been grappling with the application process. Many of them saying that, it is a tedious process in trying to apply for the funding, because some have been trying to apply for the funding since it came out, and now they seemingly have lost hope. Others saying that, they cannot afford for the internet or data in trying to log on to SASSA's websites. We spoke to several people from areas such as Gugulethu and Nyanga, and they've been saying that, even when there are SASSA officials for assistance, they seemingly don't get that assistance. So SASSA has come out to say that, they are willing to assist people. They do know that people are in dire need of this 350 Rand. We do know that many of the applicants, probably the majority, are between the ages of 20 to 24. So it speaks volumes to the young people that are unemployed in the country.
Let's go back to the numbers for a second. You said 600,000 in the Western Cape. Those people who have registered, or is that the expected amount of people that should be applying?
At this stage, what we were told, those are the people who have registered, but those numbers could obviously increase. But what we do know is that it's for that reason why SASSA officials feel that they need to now find other ways to create awareness. They do know that they've been getting numerous complaints about people not being able to access the internet, because SASSA has mentioned that they have about 3 platforms, including a WhatsApp number where people can text and request for an application. But some people who spoke to said that they've been kicked out of the website, and others saying that, their applications have come out unsuccessful and they needed to be given explanations. So SASSA saying that for that reason why they are willing to assist people. They are currently training volunteers, and they are expected to have those volunteers to be dispatched, especially in poor communities.
Ronald, is there any clarity at this point, maybe it's too early, on what percentage of those who did manage to register received their 350 Rand today?
Not clear at this point, Sally, but we are expecting more stats to come out later this week. We do know that the General Manager will be in consultation with the various branches, especially those in areas, remote areas where a lot of people aren't too clued up about the process of applying for the grant.
Thank you so much. eNCA reporter Ronald Masinda in Cape Town, and thank you to Slindelo Masikane coming to us from Mangaung this evening.